California yesterday, and they say there's some oil that is readily accessible to them because they're next to existing rigs that they could get a flow of oil within months, increased oil, within months. So don't listen to this when you hear it would take 5 years or 10 years. And my friends, we've got to do that as we bridge to hydrogen cars, flex fuel cars, the new electric cars, to wind, tide, solar, to all these alternate energies sources which will then allow us to become independent of foreign oil. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Thank you for calling me. My arm was getting really tired. My name is Michelle Wilson, and I have 2 companies here at Sparks. I'm president and CEO, and we're a family-owned company. I'm going to read a brief statement. I was at the State Department in the U.S. Treasury about 2 weeks ago, representing between 30 and 50 U.S. companies who import products from Belarus. I'm assuming you're aware of the recent sanctions that were placed on certain companies in Belarus. I can't import from that factory any longer. I've been importing from that factory for 16 years. I have 3 months in Minsk, Stekleropino, out of Polsk. We have been partners for 16 years. You called yourself a maverick. My father was one of the first U.S. businessmen in the Soviet Union in 1992, Gary Teague. He was featured in Inc. magazine in 2003. He was also called a maverick. We approached the State Department and asked them, are you aware how those sanctions, which are trying to force the hand of Lukashenko for civil rights, how they're affecting U.S. companies? They had no idea. They were surprised at the amount of companies that were impacted. I have 3 months and I'll have to file bankruptcy because they are my sole supplier. Briefly, they produce products for the U.S. Forest Service to protect homes, to protect people. How does your foreign policy with countries such as Belarus, they don't have a port. How does your foreign policy, will you take into account or try to find out how foreign policy affects U.S. businesses?
Thank you. And before I address it, I also would like to find a thought. My friends, Senator Obama opposes offshore drilling. He opposes nuclear power. He opposes a gas tax holiday. And he opposes all of the things that we need to do to become energy independent. That'll be a big issue in this campaign. I have never been to Belarus. I tried to go once. I was not allowed. I was not allowed to go by Lukashenko. I have to tell you, everything I know about Belarus is that he is a brutal dictator. He has oppressed his people. He has done really atrocious things. And I believe that the United States of America must stand up to dictators. Now, and I think that we have to take actions which can hurt our economy, but at the same time will not help these dictators brutalize and mistreat their own people. Now, this guy has prisons full of political prisoners that have been tortured and beaten and killed. Now, I am deeply sorry for what has happened as a result of our efforts to change Mr. Lukashenko's behavior and that of the country of Belarus. And I would be glad to look into it more and see if there's ways that we can ameliorate the effects on your business and other businesses. But I also believe that the United States of America was founded on one guiding, well, let me put it this way, the most noble words ever written is, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all of us are created equal, all, and endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. I will be glad to look into your situation and see if there is some other program or something that can be done. But one of the things I'm most proud of about the United States of America is almost unique, is that we stand up to dictators and we fight for human rights of people all over the world. And I don't say militarily, but we advocate for them. We try to do everything in our power to give people an opportunity to live a better and freer life. I will be glad to look and talk with you some more about it.
My name is Donald Newcomb. I have a question regarding the Warrior campaign. Given that last week the senator went abroad and had a sizable amount of media coverage, a surprising tweak happened, I guess. Someone may be aware, you're being aware of the latest Gallup poll among likely voters nodding your head. Does that change anything?
Thank you. Frankly, I'm surprised. Friends, I think we have to assume, despite the fluctuations of the polls up and down, I am the underdog in this race, and I'm going to need every single one of you to get out there and get out the vote in Nevada, and I relish the underdog. As you may know, I am taking public financing according to the law. Senator Obama will be the first presidential candidate since we passed campaign reform laws that will not be taking public financing but will be raising his own. But the interesting thing about this is that he said that he would take public financing if I would. He said it in writing, he pledged it, and in his last debate he had with Senator Clinton, he said, looked right in the camera and said, before I make a decision, I will sit down and negotiate with Senator McCain. My friends, I'm still waiting by the phone. I'm still waiting by the phone. Hello? I hate to broadcast my number here, but the fact is that he did no such thing. He did no such thing. So anyway, we get into this thing about giving people your word and keeping your word. And so, again, I am pleased with where we are in the polls. But please, my friends, have no doubt that I'm the underdog in this race. I relish it, and it spurs me on to action. It spurs me on to being here in these town hall meetings. And as you know, I have asked Senator Obama time after time after time. I'm almost gone to the gimmick of the empty chair to come to the town hall meetings with me and let us respond. Maybe he could be helpful to me and know something more about the plight that you are experiencing as a result of our efforts to help the people of Belarus, and at the same time, there's obviously been innocent bystanders such as yourself. So maybe we could all help educate and inform the American people, but obviously he's not going to do that. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Doug Engelkirk. I'm from Douglas County. And I'm a conservative, and I have to say, I think I speak for a lot of conservatives, that I'm not very excited about this election. And I think there's a lot of us that are voting against Obama more than anything else. Over the last number of years, there's been a lot of issues I've disagreed with you on, and I'd like to know how you can assure me and other conservatives that you're going to hold to our values and give us something to be excited about so you aren't the underdog.
Tell me what you disagree on.
Well, over the years, there's been the amnesty issue I've had problems with, the Gang of 14, campaign finance reform, falling into the global warming crowd's agenda against drilling in Anwar. Those are a few that came to mind.
Thank you. And as I said at the beginning of our conversation, I've stood up against my party many times because I've done what I believe is right. Now let me just tell you about, for example, the Gang of 14, as it's called. Many of you don't know, but there was going to be an attempt that they called the nuclear option to blow up the Senate that would only require 51 votes in order to confirm a judge. I thought that was wrong because I think the United States Senate, preserving the 60-vote majority, makes the Senate unique from the House of Representatives. 7 Republicans, 7 Democrats sat down together, and we agreed that we wouldn't filibuster a judge unless there was, quote, special circumstances. We got all but I think 2 judges confirmed that were nominees of President Bush. You'll have to find me a Republican senator today, now that we're not in the majority, who would support the so-called nuclear